Welcome back to another episode of Tunedin Reviews.
And today we're going to be reviewing Eminem's new album, Revival.
Alright, this is Eminem's ninth studio album in his long line of R-named albums. He had Relapse, Recovery, now it's Revival. So it's 19 tracks, it's long, it's not a short thing like most Eminem albums. And we're going to do this how we usually start reviews. We're going to start with the bangers. And were there any bangers on here? How do you feel about the bangers on this?
I would say for me, a banger would be Septic with Fresher.
Yeah, anything with Fresher on it, because Fresher is like, wait a minute. Like, he's known for that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
he's known for that.
So of course, and I mean, Heat, of course. But like, I mean, there was definitely a couple. So yeah, there's definitely a couple. Like, what else do y'all think?
Well, I guess a banger for me would be Untouchable, the two-part song. The two-part song where he has perspective of a white cop, and then he plays from a perspective of a black man, and I thought it was kind of I thought it was kind of cool, like the whole Untouchable and the whole hook, like white boy, you're a rock star.
One of the corniest points of the album,
and then you hear like the electric guitar, like like it's just there's a lot of energy. You can feel the raw energy out of that song when you're listening to it, and that's what I got out of it. So to me, that was my banger, Untouchable.
To me, this album really didn't have bangers in the true sense of how we define bangers, like something you could bump in the whip, and it's really gonna like almost like a trap sound. Like that's just not Eminem, and I'm kind of thankful he didn't do that and like succumb to that.
It never will be Eminem.
Even though he did, I think he kind of like somewhat used the Migos flow on certain songs.
Like what song?
I think Chloroseptic. Like that was one of the songs. Like he kind of like was like, is he using Migos flow right now?
Maybe that's why you like that. That's why I'm gonna admit it. That might be why I liked it. So,
I mean, perhaps, but I mean, it wasn't. It didn't seem like he was straying from being true to himself, though. That's why I still like the song. I like that whole album in general. It didn't seem like he was trying to do something he's not. But it's not really an album of bangers. Like Eminem is just not really that type of artist to give you that trap sound. Yeah. But he still gives you the energy lyrically. Flow-wise.
Yeah, he's that, like, where he gives you lyrics and you have to go back and really, like, what he say?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily his worst album. Like, a lot of people are saying, they just painted it as a negative light, just, like, really bashing it. Yeah. Like, it's not bad, but it's not, like, anything, to me, special, I don't think. It's nothing like, amazing, like, wow. Like, this was... If Eminem didn't release this, I don't know what would have happened. And... So I like the features. I feel like that's the main point that sticks out to me. Like when you have Beyonce, Alicia Keys, Ed Sheeran. I don't want to even put Kehlani in the same breath because he's not that nice. But Pink. Those are powerhouse artists. Like you can't have a bad. Like the album can't be terrible. Like it can be more pop oriented, yes, but it can't be. You can't say the album is terrible with those features. You got Beyonce on there.
And can't go wrong with Beyonce. It's played off hype. Eminem, Beyonce, like.
That's what directed me to it. I was like, Eminem, Beyonce, click. Let me see what that is.
That's a click
word.
That's a click right
that's
there.
True.
Mm-hmm. But going to the Beyonce track, Walk on Water, I just thought it was funny that he says, will this step be another mishap to tarnish my legacy? And he's like referring to recording this album. And a lot of people would even agree that maybe this was tarnishing his legacy and even recording it. So I just think he's expressing his fears of even recording it on the first track of the album, knowing that he may get the negative reactions that he's gotten so far. So I think it's even ironic that he's been discussing that on the album. And also in terms of the River track with Ed Sheeran, he says, will the river run or something like that? And I just jumped to Game of Thrones, like because River Run is a Game of Thrones town and state.
He was in Game of Thrones.
And he was in Game of Thrones. So I was like, did he just take inspiration from that and just like, let me just
That'd be
River
super
Run?
Clever. Honestly, if Eminem did that, that would just been super clever.
Yeah,
that would have been like a good little, what do you call it, Easter egg?
Yeah, Easter egg. Like, oh yeah, Game of Thrones, there we go. Yeah.
Like, you pay attention, you with the shits. Winter is here.
But I could be reading too much into it, but who knows? But I mean, that just adds to the niceness of the album.
And like another thing about the features was that he always, for some reason, it's like whenever he has a feature, he always puts like the instrumental or the beat always has like violins or has strings behind it. Something that I noticed, like in the Beyonce song, the Ed Sheeran song, the Kehlani song, they all kind of sound alike and has like a similar like uplifting theme or like a theme of like moving away from a negative experience. I feel like that's what I got out of all of the songs. I don't know if that's really cliche or if he always does that on all of his pop records or his crossover records, but that's been a theme that I noticed throughout this album.
These features are singers, so like having the strings on like with singers definitely adds to the song, especially with certain choruses, and then you have him like it's a very like it's a contrast, like, you know, they sing, it's kind of uplifting with the strings, then he says like some real shit or like even sometimes some dark shit, and then they get uplifted towards the end, and he makes that kind of that switch, and it like all comes together.
Yep.
So I definitely think
they complement each other well when you have like the nice voice of Ed Sheeran and then you got like aggressive ass Eminem.
I like the fact that Eminem is using his white privilege to combat certain things, like in this, like you said, in Untouchable, and then there's a few other tracks where he's kind of basically really just getting in, talking about the political climate that's been going on, which like we know that Eminem's been going back and forth with Trump, like he's
not really back and forth. Trump has really been going forth because Trump hasn't responded.
You know what I'm saying? Well, just using his white privilege to combat, you know, the institutional racism. So I could respect that.
About Untouchable, like, what I think it was well intentioned, but I just feel like this artist called Joyner Lucas, many of you may not be familiar with
Not
him.
racist.
Everybody knows that went viral. Everybody knows.
Did it go viral? Because I feel like there's some people that may be watching this like, who the hell is Joyner Lucas?
They might not know who Joyner Lucas is, but that video is viral.
It was like, oh, that was him. Oh, that was that guy. But see, I think that's the problem. And I feel like it's ironic that Eminem was talking about white privilege and how like me being white affords me with certain things, and then when you're making a song about your white privilege, they can make this similar type of song. Joyner Lucas could do it better, but Eminem would just get all the attention. So I just think that irony in that is something to consider.
Well, I would disagree. I think Joyner Lucas definitely. I mean, this is not a Joyner Lucas talk, but I'm going to touch on that. Like, Joyner Lucas, especially in that music video, you first see like a redneck white guy. I don't even, is the black guy Joyner Lucas? I don't even know what Joyner Lucas is.
He wasn't even in the video.
In the video.
So because of how the song plays, and everybody like that first white guy, and it says I'm not racist, it definitely catches your attention. Like, okay, like you're thinking like, okay, this is some guy about to say some shit, but it's actually a rap song by some other guy that's in the background. So I think that definitely him, in terms of his popularity, Joyner Lucas won't get popular as compared to Eminem, because we know Eminem and we know his name, but that video itself is gonna be like, it's already viral. It's like everybody, a lot of people, it's been posted everywhere from Facebook to Instagram.
Well, leave a comment if you've heard of that video. Please let us know. If you haven't, also let us know, because it just doesn't seem like it's really popping or getting radio play. Untouchable's on the radio all the time now. That's a single from the album, but nobody's gonna play I'm Not a Racist on the radio. Nobody's gonna play that. He's never going to perform that. He could perform Untouchable at next year's Grammys. Joyner Lucas never performed in that song. And the fact that he did it better than Eminem in this song. I feel like Eminem at times was very preachy on Untouchable. And like when you're doing subjects like these things, it's kind of like easy to fall into that trap. I think Logic struggled with the same things on his album Everybody. Like he was very preachy at certain times. And it's like, okay, relax. Like I feel like if Eminem did it, he just kept with the whole formula that he did with on the BET Hip Hop Awards freestyle. If he kept that same format, because I feel like he wasn't preachy at all. He just, did his thing and came out aggressively. If he made a song with that type of tone, then, I would feel like that would be better than Untouchable. And then the hook, the hook was kind of cringeworthy. Like the white boy, Untouchable. Like,
I actually like that part. I like the electric guitar and the hook. It's cool.
I'm not bumping that in the car.
It's cool.
I'm not bumping that in the The message is okay. Energy, it's well intentioned, but I'm just not feeling that song. Like,
but yeah, that one to go to like I almost forgot my main point, but I think that's probably also why a lot of people might not necessarily like who are Eminem fans that went back and they're like, it's okay. It's because of one, how kind of political it is almost, and the fact that how you say like it's not as aggressive. Like I think people want. Like, just how, like, with any artist that evolves or just, like, that's been in the game, that has longevity, like, they want old Eminem, that aggressive, that sad, that grunge, that sad, like,
That's shady.
Exactly. They want shady.
Shady.
But he's saying, like, I'm not some shady.
He's Marshall now.
I'm Marshall.
Can I talk about there was two sleeper songs, though. One of the songs was Remind Me. I like Remind Me because it has the whole
I love rock and roll
sample. So like the energy was there, the vibe was there. I fucks with that. And Framed, like I love that song. That song is cool. Like the hook the story that he's telling, then it's just like the hook is just funny how he alters his voice like because I'm just a friend. Like it's hilarious, but like it's mad cool. I'm just like, yo, like this is the Eminem that I like.
That reminds me of a little bit of Relapse Eminem.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta respect Eminem in terms of lyrically, even if you don't like the songs, the beats, because he has a lot of like lines in here, like "So fucking fly, belong in a Mile High Club," "Head game is a mind fuck." Like sir, you gotta appreciate of course they're delivered more better than I just delivered them, but these little things that he does, you gotta appreciate the lyricism of it, like the double entendres that he does. Especially, I'll give it to Heat and Offended are the really most lyrically dense double entendre tracks.
Yeah, Heat.
Yep, Offended. I thought Offended was like the best rap song, like the actual just lyrics off of lyrics alone. I thought that was the best.
Like
song.
bars.
Yeah.
His wordplay is phenomenal.
Like you gotta have the lyrics, so you gotta have like the rap genius up to fully enjoy the album,
Exactly.
really process everything, make sure you don't miss anything. Because sometimes he's really fast going like a mile a minute with his flow. So
3 miles a minute, like 5 miles a minute,
and one thing that I
10
really
miles
liked,
a minute.
and one thing that one thing that I really liked about this album was actually the last 2 songs on the album, Castle followed by A Rose. And what I really liked, and what caught me off guard was that when I was listening to A Rose, because I listened to the album about 4 times now, but as I was listening to A Rose, I remember towards the end of it, I was just like, wait, I heard this part of the song before. Where did I hear this from? And then we realized when we were looking at Rap Genius was that in the song A Rose, he's playing from the perspective of someone that overdosed on medication, and I guess he's about to die or whatever. So he's rewinding the tape, so he replays the part of Castle where he doesn't take the drugs, and he flushes the drugs down the toilet. He's rewinding the tape, so he replays the part of Castle where he doesn't take the drugs, and he flushes the drugs down the toilet, basically. And for me, that's really creative. That's really dope, and I think that's what makes the album a good experience. I think for me personally, the rating that I would give it, I would give it a strong 7. I mean, I gotta give it to him. I thought he did a really good job, in the fact that he got all of these high profile features, and the fact that he put other artists who are blowing up, like Kehlani, for example, like to give them a platform using his
and Fresher, especially Fresher. How the fuck Fresher?
And Fresher, yeah.
How he gonna feature?
Facts. Exactly.
I think Skylar great too.
And Skylar
always works.
He always works with Skylar.
But
like the Ex Ambassador, that was a cool feature too for like the song Bad Husband. So like for me, it was a good album. And at first, when I first heard the album, I was just like, yo, I don't really like this album. It's not that good. It's pretty whack. But after a few listens, I kind of got to appreciate it a little bit more. So I appreciate where he's coming from and where he still is. So that's why I give it a strong 7.
I give it also around there. I would say a high 6, a low 7 though. And I wouldn't give it a strong 7 because I don't think it's not something that I'm gonna necessarily go back to. I'm not gonna I might not bump any of these songs ever again. Like, to be honest with you, this is like the first. I appreciate it as an art form. I appreciate the lyrics he got. I appreciate the well-intentionedness of Untouchable and like maybe the 2 other political songs that he had on there, but it's not really something I'm going to go back to. I feel like if you're an Eminem fan, you'll definitely like the progression that he's gone through on here and going back to the same themes that he's done with his daughter and his wife and struggling with his family issues. So you'll appreciate those types of songs, but as like an average rap listener or just a fan of rap in general, I wouldn't say this is anything like special. It's not like one of Eminem's gold mine albums, but it's still good enough to give a strong 6 or a low 7. So let's just go with strong 6. Strong 6.
Alright, so I mean, I guess whatever a strong 6, I'm gonna give it like a 6.5 because I mean, like I said, I like the certain things that he does in certain songs in terms of just like talking about things that are going on, but they're also, and the features, of course, those are definitely pluses, but at the same time, kind of in a disagree, like, so how you said Bad Husbands, I don't really like Bad Husbands because I feel like, or Bad Husband, because like there's certain songs like that where it just seems like, okay, Slim Shady, like you're no longer Slim Shady, right? Like you've grown, you're almost 40 years old. I just don't understand why Eminem is talking about the same shit he's talking about 20 years ago. Like, I don't really believe necessarily that you're going through this still, and it just seems like, okay, like, use something that's more relevant to your life, which I feel like he is when he gets a little bit political. I don't know, like, I wasn't a big fan of that. So I would say, like I said, like a 6.5, a 6.5 for me, just because off the strength of it being Eminem and the longevity, and of course the lyricism. You gotta always like go back and you can hear things that you won't even like. Oh, like what he say? Like what was that? Okay, yeah.
I mean, he's still a good technical rapper, and
Yeah.
for that you gotta give him his props. So with those 3 ratings, it averages at about to a 7 if you round up, because we're gonna do the round up method.
6.5, 7 for sure. Decent album, worth the listen. But yeah, let us know what you think. Do you think that we're bugging? 6.5, 7? Is that doing it justice?
Did you give the album a 10? Did you give the album a 2?
Exactly.
You think it's his worst album? Let us know in the comments below. And stay tuned for our future reviews, and we'll see you soon.